The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Plaza Hotel ballroom cast elegant shadows across the annual Industry Excellence Gala. 5 years ago, I'd attended this same event as little Sophia Matthews, William Matthews' daughter. Tonight was different. Tonight I was here as someone else entirely. Did you hear about Sophia? My older sister Elizabeth's voice carried across the room. Still trying to make it on her own. Such a shame. I sipped my champagne quietly from my corner table, watching my family hold court at the center of the room. Matthews Construction had been the biggest name in commercial development for 3 decades. My father made sure everyone knew it. Poor William, I heard Mrs. Henderson, a longtime family friend, say. First his daughter abandons the family business, now he's stuck hoping his new project will save their reputation. The new project they referenced was the Vista Tower development, a $2 billion venture that would either cement Matthews Construction's future or break them completely. What they didn't know was that I knew exactly how desperate their situation had become. Sophia. My father's booming voice interrupted my thoughts. He approached with his usual entourage of executives and clients. Surprised to see you here. Shouldn't you be managing that little construction crew of yours? Innovation development is doing fine, Dad, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. They didn't need to know that my little construction crew had quietly become one of the most sophisticated development firms in the country. Fine. He laughed, others joining in. You'll never survive without us. What's your biggest project? Renovating coffee shops. If they only knew about the meetings I'd been having, the deals I'd been closing, the pieces I'd been carefully putting into place. Actually, I started, but Elizabeth cut me off. Daddy, Mr. Chin from Global Investments is here. You know, the one backing Vista Tower? We should go greet him. My father's face lit up. James Chin was the biggest name in commercial investment, and his support was crucial for the Vista Tower project. What my family didn't know was that I'd had dinner with him last week, not as William Matthews' daughter, but as someone far more important. Run along to your little projects, Sophia, Elizabeth smirked. Leave the real business to those who can handle it. I checked my phone as they walked away. A message from my executive assistant. Everything's in place. Mr. Chin is ready when you are. For the past 5 years, while my family mocked my independence, I'd been building something revolutionary. Innovation development wasn't just another construction company. It was a complete reimagining of commercial development, combining sustainable technology with cutting-edge design. Our projects weren't public yet, but they had caught the attention of some very important people. People like James Chin. I watched as my father approached Mr. Chin, hand extended in greeting. But Chin didn't notice him. Instead, his eyes scanned the room until they found me. Ah, there you are. Chen's voice carried across the ballroom as he walked straight toward my table. Madam Seo, shall we discuss that merger? The champagne glass slipped from my father's hand, shattering against the marble floor. Elizabeth's perfectly maintained smile froze. Every head in the room turned to stare. Of course, Mr. Chin. I stood, smoothing my designer dress, one that cost more than Elizabeth's entire wardrobe. Though I believe we have some other matters to discuss first. Indeed, Chin smiled. Global Investments is very excited about transferring all our development projects to innovation development, including, of course, the Vista Tower funding. The silence that fell over the ballroom was deafening. My father's face had turned an interesting shade of white. Elizabeth's mouth opened and closed without sound. My phone buzzed again, press release ready to go. Forbes interview scheduled for tomorrow morning. I smiled, remembering all the family dinners where they dismissed my vision, all the meetings where they told me I'd never make it on my own. Mr. Chin, I said loud enough for everyone to hear, why don't we discuss this in private? I believe my father might need a moment to process things. As I walked toward the exit with James Chin, I caught my reflection in a mirror. No longer the dutiful daughter they tried to contain. Now I was something else entirely. And they were about to find out exactly what that was. The private meeting room at the Grand Plaza felt charged with electricity as I sat across from James Chin. Before we could begin, the door burst open. My father stormed in, followed by Elizabeth and our CFO Richard. What is the meaning of this? Father demanded, his face flushed. Chin, we have a contract. Had a contract, Chin corrected calmly, opening his laptop. Which, as of this morning, has been transferred to innovation development. Your daughter's company made us an offer we couldn't refuse. Impossible, Elizabeth cut in. Sophia doesn't have that kind of resources. She's just. Just what? I interrupted, pulling out my tablet. Just the daughter who saw the future of development while you were clinging to outdated methods? The one who warned you 3 years ago that sustainable technology would revolutionize the industry. I projected our latest project portfolio onto the wall. Sleek, eco-friendly skyscrapers. Carbon-neutral manufacturing facilities. Smart cities that looked like they belonged in the next century. While you were mocking my little projects, I continued, I was building these. All privately funded. All fully sustainable. All wildly profitable. Richard, always the numbers man, had gone pale as he scrolled through his phone. William, she's not bluffing. Innovation Development's market valuation, it's 3 times ours. My phone buzzed. Ms. Matthews, my assistant's voice filled the room, the Asian markets just opened. Our stock is up 40% on rumors of the Global Investments Partnership. Also, the mayor is requesting a meeting about the city center redevelopment project. Father gripped the back of a chair, his knuckles white. The city center? That was our project. I nodded. Until they saw our proposals. Turns out clients prefer buildings that don't destroy the environment. Who you? Elizabeth sank into a chair, her perfect composure cracking. All those site visits you made to our projects. I was studying what not to do, I confirmed. Every outdated design, every inefficient system, they all helped me build something better. Chin cleared his throat. The Vista Tower project needs to move forward immediately. The question is, William, are you willing to work under your daughter's leadership? Because innovation development will be taking over all global investments projects, one way or another. Under her leadership? Father exploded. This is my company. My legacy. Your company, I stood up, is bleeding money trying to keep up with environmental regulations you never saw coming. Your legacy is built on methods that are becoming obsolete. But I'm offering you a chance to be part of the future. I pulled up another document on the screen, a merger proposal. Innovation Development acquires Matthews Construction. You keep your position but under new direction. With our technology and your experience, we could build something extraordinary. Richard was already studying the numbers. William, this is actually a very generous offer. Generous. Elizabeth scoffed, but her voice wavered. She's trying to take over. No, I corrected her. I already have. The only question is whether you want to be part of what comes next. My phone buzzed again, a message from my team. Press getting wind of the merger. Major networks requesting comment. Also, Microsoft wants to discuss implementing our smart building technology. Father stared at the proposal on the screen, seeing his company's future hanging in the balance. 30 years of doing things his way, now confronted by the daughter he'd dismissed. You planned this, he said quietly. All of it. I learned from the best, I replied. You taught me to seize opportunities. To think big. I just saw opportunities you couldn't imagine. The room fell silent as the weight of the situation sank in. Everything was about to change and they knew it. Dawn broke over the city skyline as I stood in my real office. The entire top floor of a building that made the Matthews Construction headquarters look like a cottage. The wall of windows offered a perfect view of the Vista Tower construction site, where crews were already replacing the old Matthews Construction signs with Innovation Development's sleek logo. Ms. Matthews, my assistant Sarah entered, tablet in hand. The morning shows are all covering the merger. Your father and sister are in the lobby for the board meeting. I smiled, remembering how they used to make me wait in lobbies. Send them up. When they entered, both looked like they hadn't slept. Elizabeth's designer suit couldn't hide her uncertainty, and Father's usual commanding presence had diminished considerably. The papers are ready, I said, gesturing to the documents on my conference table. Though you might want to see this first. I turned on the wall of screens. Every major financial network was covering our merger. Industry shakeup. Innovation Development revolutionizes construction, scrolled across CNBC. Forbes had already published their feature, Sophia Matthews, the visionary who rebuilt an industry. Your stock options, Elizabeth said quietly, staring at the financial tickers. They're worth. More than Matthews Construction's entire market cap, I finished. Amazing what sustainable technology and forward thinking can do. Father picked up the merger contract, his hands slightly shaking. All those years while we thought you were failing. I was building the future, I nodded. Those little projects you mocked? Test sites for revolutionary materials and methods. That tiny crew you dismissed? World-class engineers and architects who saw the same future I did. My phone buzzed, a message from James Chin. Dubai royal family interested in EcoCity project. Budget, unlimited. You know what the difference was? I continued, looking out at the city. You saw construction as a business of bricks and steel. I saw it as a chance to reshape the world. Sarah entered again. Ms. Matthews, the board members are assembled. Also, the governor's office called about the state infrastructure contract. Elizabeth's head snapped up. The state contract? We've been bidding on that for years. They want buildings that will still be relevant in 50 years, I said. Not stuck in the past like. I gestured around at the city's older buildings, many bearing the Matthews Construction logo. Father finally spoke, his voice heavy with realization. You're not just taking over the company. You're transforming the entire industry. Yes, I confirmed. And now you have to decide. Are you ready to be part of that transformation? I pressed a button and a holographic display filled the room, designs for future cities, buildings that generated more energy than they used, communities that could evolve with their inhabitants. This is what innovation development is building, I explained. Not just structures but solutions. The question is, can you let go of the past enough to be part of it? Father looked at the contract again, then at the empire I'd built while they'd been mocking my independence. You did this all on your own. Why even offer us a place in it? Because you taught me one valuable lesson, I replied. Success isn't just about proving people wrong. It's about being strong enough to offer them a chance to be right. I walked to my desk where a framed photo sat, my first construction site, the one they'd all laughed at. Sign the papers and Matthews Construction becomes part of something bigger than you ever imagined. Don't sign. I shrugged. Well, the future is coming either way. Elizabeth stepped forward first, surprising us all. I want to learn, she said quietly. Everything you've built. I want to understand it. Father watched as she signed, his worldview visibly shifting. Finally he picked up the pen. You did it, he said, signing his name. You really did it. No, Dad, I corrected him, taking my seat at the head of the conference table. I'm just getting started. As the board members filed in, I caught my reflection in the window. No longer the daughter they'd dismissed, but the visionary who'd seen the future and built it while they weren't looking. Sometimes success isn't about revenge. It's about creating something so extraordinary that those who doubted you have no choice but to see you differently. And as I stood to address the board, I knew this was just the beginning of how I would reshape not just my family's legacy, but the very skyline of the future.